Next up is John Smith, who is another composer who worked on this really interesting game called Calico. I know you're gonna love playing this. I love kitties. I have a big kitty of my own, so you can jiggle the kitties and it's gonna be amazing. So check out the trailer for Calico.
I started gaming when I was 2. My dad was a gamer and he had us playing Legend of Zelda. It's cheesy to say, but I always knew I wanted to be a game designer. Calico is a magical girl cat cafe sim. You are a magical girl in a town of magical girls and witches, and you run the cat cafe in the village. Your main goals are to collect as many cuddly creatures as possible, and you can also make pastries and decorate cakes, decorate your furniture, and basically everything I've ever wanted to do in all my favorite games, just put into one. So I'm a Sailor Moon kid. I grew up watching Sailor Moon, and it really is that sort of powerful, they can do anything, encapsulated in a little tiny pink pastel blob. And you don't see a lot of just unapologetically feminine games, but the main thing is just embracing soft and gentle and pleasant, and being able to run with that. The indie scene is just so wonderful and communal. A big part of what got me into actually starting to make the game is realizing that things like Unity allow us to have that level of customization that we want to make a cute and cuddly game. So my best friend, Andrew, the wonderful cuddly connoisseur who is doing the programming for our game, he had the idea of riding giant cats, and I've never felt so connected to a creator in my entire life. We're working on it mainly together. We're doing 90% of it. We're also looking for money so we can pay wonderful creators their fair share to make extra content for the game. It is an Animal Crossing style game, so we're going to have a lot of furniture, a lot of customization. We really just want you to be able to make your own little world, and that means assets, and assets take time. So a lot of that money is just basically going to us being able to sit down at our desks and work as much as we can. Thank you so much for checking Calico out. We're really excited for this Kickstarter, and we really hope that we can meet our goals so we can bring Calico to everyone. If you can donate, that would be wonderful. If not, retweeting and sharing everywhere, it really helps us. Thank you so much.
That was an amazing trailer for Calico, the kitty-based sim game, which is so great. I love it. But we got John Smith, the composer for Calico, on board. We're gonna play the game, and yeah, and you won't get smashed this time because there's no smashing involved.
Thank you for that. All right.
You could just romp around.
Super nice. Thank you for that.
Hey John, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's cool to talk to all composers and developers and designers, of all ages, from the side of Black development or Black developers. That came out really weird. But can you talk a little bit about your experience in the industry and kind of how you jumped into composing and development?
Yeah, totally. So I'm going to try to make this as short as I possibly can. It's a long story, but when I was super young, when I was like 13, something like that, I was lucky enough to go to this fine arts sort of middle school and high school. So I had started playing viola when I was really young, like in elementary school, and then I got to go to this fine arts school in the South in Georgia, and I was playing the piano and I was playing the viola and kind of teaching myself to write classical music, but alongside that, I had started teaching myself electronic music production stuff because I decided that I wanted to write music for video games. So I worked with a classmate to make like little video game experiments. I wrote music for that stuff. I went to the University of Georgia for a little bit, did some classical music stuff there, kept teaching myself music production. Eventually, I ended up at the Berklee College of Music, where I finally studied music production like on a collegiate level. and I moved to Seattle after I finished up with that to kind of find more projects.
That's cool. So are you in Seattle right now? Where are you located?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle.
Okay. Cool. It's like a very rich area as far as influence in game development culture.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are tons of big companies, small companies. It's been amazing.
Can you talk about a little bit about the projects that you worked on before you hopped on to work on Calico?
Yeah, totally. So the first kind of sort of small or medium, whatever you want to call them, projects that I made actually were with that high school friend that I mentioned before. So I got to attend this program called the Red Bull Music Academy in 2011. And what that is or was kind of this program where they took applications from people from all over the world and then selected a subset of those applicants to go to somewhere in the world to collaborate and make music together and listen to other musicians who've kind of been in the industry longer speak and all that kind of thing. And what ended up happening with that was that it kind of originated as an event for DJs. So they were encouraging everyone to go and like do a DJ set and perform live. But I just kind of like wrote music on my computer, on my software. It didn't do anything like that. So I ended up approaching my friend and saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we made some kind of performance video game? So what we ended up doing was developing a crowd-controlled music-based video game project that we actually showed in Madrid, Spain. And then we had the opportunity to do kind of a similar project at this program called Hacking Arts at MIT. It was like this little showcase of kind of the intersection of arts and technology stuff. And then sort of that work actually led into me getting hooked up with an internship where I did music and sound design for essentially a massively multiplayer online neuroscience game called iWire. So I got to write some like kind of electronic ambient inspired music for that. I got to do some very like kind of user interface sound effects stuff. And then after moving to Seattle, I got to contribute a little bit of music and sound design to Rec Room, this sort of fairly popular VR game. And yeah, what else have I done? Other little things here and there. But kind of the biggest thing recently was another VR title called The Stars Between Us, which is a title that was originally launched for Oculus Go that's all about kind of love throughout the universe in short.
Nice. So how did you get connected with Calico, Kells, and because this game is like one of the most interesting games. Just to tell you a little bit about like our history with it, we had it at the Mix, the GDC, 2019 GDC. We met Kells, and Emily, who's on our team, was like, "You got to check this game out. You got to check this game out." And we checked the game out. I was like, "Oh my God, it's kitties!" And we should have it. And it ended up winning Best of the Mix, which was amazing because of the artwork and the ingenuity involved. And you hopped on a year ago, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't even remember, honestly. It hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been forever. I kind of had gotten into the habit of going to different kind of game networking events. Actually, back in Boston when I was at Berkeley, I kind of started going to stuff. So yeah, I actually just met Kells at, I think it was kind of a business summit for gaming. I don't really even remember what it was called, but I just met her at this event and kind of we started talking a little bit. And then a little bit after that, actually, she kind of got in touch with me and let me know that she was looking actually to move to work with a composer that was kind of local, that was kind of closer to things. Mm-hmm. So the music that you heard in the trailer earlier, actually, that was another composer's work who had kind of served as a consultant for the music stuff and stuff like that. Like actually what you're listening to right now, this theme is one of hers as well. But Kells, like I said, wanted to work with someone more local, so we kind of started talking, and she was familiar with my work on the VR game that I just mentioned to you, actually, The Stars Between Us. Mm-hmm. And one of the things she told me was that what was most interesting to her for that game was actually a song that I had written with this singer-songwriter to kind of be the theme of the game. Like she had fallen in love with that and was just really interested to see what kind of stuff I could do for Calico.
That's awesome. So where is your inspiration come for composing Calico? Because it's very dreamy and surreal, and it has a different vibe than most video games that are out there in the market right now.
Oh yeah. So whenever I start a project, the first thing that I like to do is a sort of creative direction phase. So I'll talk to the creator about what kind of musical inspiration they have, what the themes of the game are, like what they're trying to communicate sort of on an artistic level with their work. And after Kels had sort of shared some different pieces of music with me, like she shared some lo-fi hip-hop stuff, she shared some, I think, future-based stuff, which
He's killing cats. I just couldn't help it. All of a sudden, I see a cat jump off the cliff. Like, yo, this is supposed to be a peaceful game. You are not supposed to destroy anything. This was safe for you, Alfonso. It was totally safe. And you found a way to kill a cat. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That was not the intent of this
That's
show.
not what Calico is about.
At all. You will not be holding the controller any longer. No, you can redeem yourself.
Oh my God.
I couldn't help
God.
it. I was like,
I'm not trying to do cat suicide.
I was distracted. I get this dude's a dog guy, so I should have known that.
I am a dog guy. I am truly a dog guy. So you picked the wrong person to do it.
Anyway, where were we? Where were we at?
Oh man. No, Kels. That's hilarious. Kels had shared this huge collection of music with me. She had some lo-fi hip-hop stuff. She had some stuff that I think is future-based. I'm not the best at my electronic music genres, but it was some future-based stuff, some lo-fi hip-hop stuff. I feel like there were like little piano pieces and different kinds of things. And I kind of listened through all of that and kind of talked to her about what it was that was appealing about kind of each little piece. And then I did some research on my own to kind of see if there was any music that fit some of the moods that we talked about that I was more familiar with. And actually what I ended up doing was creating this document that kind of outlined what we were trying to achieve with the music. So the three, and I'll see if I can remember these off the top of my head, but the three big things that we're going for with the Calico soundtrack are pastel Skittles, hashtag night vibes, and digital charm.
Wait, those are the names? Is that a style of music?
Yes, those are the three. That's what we're going for.
Wait. What's the first one? Pastel.
Okay, pastel Skittles. Right. Okay. So one of the things.
You gotta describe pastel Skittles because I'm interested.
I got you. So one of the things that Kels likes in music is that the word that we've been using is like popcorn. So there are like these digital. They're like little digital effects and things that people will write that have this sort of bright, short, kind of, I don't know, I want to say effervescent, but that's not the right word. But this kind of quality where it just kind of like, it comes out at you. It kind of pops out at you.
Yeah.
So, but the problem with like, rainbow Skittles is that that's a little too bright. So it's pastel Skittles. So like little pieces.
Oh, I know. They're like the
color.
Easter-based.
Yeah,
Skittles.
yeah.
I feel that. I mean, that's what the
Color
aesthetic and color palette has that. That vibe. Oh, okay. So matching that, that's awesome to have a descriptor for the music, and I've often heard that to describe the texture of the music and how it relates to the aesthetic. Okay, cool. I get now. I'm like, ooh. All right, good.
Yeah. No. So pastel Skittles. Digital charm. So that is like so when you think about technology in the future, you can kind of go in sort of a like 80s kind of vibe where it's like really harsh and kind of Tron and like that's not what we want. So we want digital, but we want it to be charming. Actually, if you check out my Instagram, I posted because the Stars Between Us, that game has some digital charm in it as well, and I found like a picture of a little, like kind of a tiny little robot with like a smiley face on it. So that's like my digital charm picture descriptor, right? And then the Steven Universe soundtrack, honestly, I feel like does a ton of that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Like,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So Steven Universe was a big inspiration for this music. And hashtag night vibes. So it's hashtag night vibes because hashtag sad vibes is too sad, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's not dark. See, dark is too strong of a word, but the kind of relaxed, chill, like internet influenced, honestly, which is why the hashtag is there, like night sound.
Yeah.
So that is something that'll appear in like half of the soundtrack, but we haven't talked about that in a ton of detail yet.
That's interesting. So where are you at? I mean, where's everything at in development, and where are you at in composing this game?
So I think I have one piece of music left. So I actually put the soundtrack up for pre-order, and I released 4 of the tunes in that. And the last one that I need... Sorry, I got a little distracted.
Ryan's engineering this, and he's saving us. As you see, Alfonso's hands are under the table because there's no more.
Because I'm trying not to kill any more cats.
Yeah.
That's because you guys are already trying to, like, you know. You shouldn't be able to kill cats. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So you have one more. You have another piece left, but
I have one left, maybe 3, mostly 1.
Okay. And when is the game released? Being released?
So we're looking at an October release.
And are you going to?
Okay. No, I was gonna say we're going for fall, sort of broadly though.
Okay. Is it going to be early access or is it the full release?
We're doing full release.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
And it's on right now. You can wishlist it on Steam or.
Please wishlist it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it should be on Black Voices in Gaming. Then we should have it up there to wishlist. So anyone listening, make sure to wishlist it. I mean, the game looks, really amazing. It sounds great. I like, how you describe all the. Listen to this, Google. I like how you express and describe the different color palettes. That's really, or color palettes, the sound palettes. Like that's really interesting to hear that. I'm not a composer myself. I love music, make music myself, but not like in this way in the game industry. So it's cool to hear that he's making a cake and stuff. How has it been? Maneuvering from your position, maneuvering in the game industry.
So,
and that's broad. I get it. Yeah.
Okay, broad.
No. I'm saying what I'm saying is very vague. Yeah. I mean, like as a Black developer, a composer, and you're in the game space, like how do you maneuver and maintain and that kind of things?
So it's actually, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, honestly. So the thing about it is that as a composer, like as an audio person in the industry, you're kind of in this position where you're always advocating for yourself anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to get out there, everyone has to network, everyone has to meet people. And so that's true across the board. But then as a composer, I don't know how to explain it. You just... This is actually how I would explain it. I think I may have been an introvert at some point in my life, and that just was not going to work, right?
Yeah.
That it was not sustainable. And then I feel like, I was talking to someone about this earlier today. The thing about it is, as a minority walking into this field, as a Black person walking into this field, like there's already that you're a composer, maybe you don't know anyone here, maybe you need to put yourself out there a little bit. But kind of the extra thing is like walking into these spaces where I already look different than everyone around me, right? Like I am not expecting anyone to make the first move and like talk to me, like under any circumstances whatsoever, right? Like I wouldn't say that it feels actively hostile, like it's nothing like that, but it's kind of like I am very acutely
this dude.
I am very acutely aware of the fact that I need to work like hard because it's the game industry, extra hard because I'm a composer, and then like extra hard because I'm a Black composer.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's, you know what I mean? I think that from what I felt, I mean, because as a game developer, and I've made, produced a few games, we get hit up constantly by composers and sound designers and stuff like that, because people think we could just jump in, I make music, like that type of thing, when there's a different component to that. And the first thing that you think of is like, possibly is that, this guy makes hip hop stuff. You know what I mean? He makes beats, that kind of thing. And that's what I've heard from other composers as well. But it's interesting to hear your perspective. You got to work really hard as a composer, getting in the games industry. Regardless, you got to work really hard. But there's just this other component, and I don't know about you, but a lot of us feel that we're developers first, right? We're in this game industry first, and then that's just something that kind of comes with the territory after the fact, and sometimes we're so deep in our work that we don't even recognize that component until like something happens and we're like, oh crap. I have to acknowledge this, this side of things too. But yeah, thank you so much, John, for hopping on board and telling us about your story and showing Calico. I'm so sorry, about Alfonso throwing a calico cat off the side of a cliff. Thank you, Ryan, for saving us here and jiggling cats in the screen. I'm definitely going to be playing this for hours because I'm more of a cat guy. But yeah, where can we find your work? Where can we find Calico? Give a shout out.
So I make music under the name Slide20XX, so SLIDE20XX. You can find that on Twitter. You can find Slide20XX_composer on Instagram. And I have a personal website, slide20xx.com. And yeah, you can find the game at Calico Game on Twitter. And if you go there, you'll find, I recently, like I said, I released the pre-order of the soundtrack, so you can check that out. And I guess I should plug, there is a Discord server that I run with a couple of other composers, and that is the Beats to Play Games 2 server. It's kind of a community for composers and people just interested in game music in general. And I will, I'll like tweet a link out to it so you can go and check that out. And yeah, we talk about just getting into the industry, all of that kind of stuff all the time. So it's a great community.
Yeah, thanks so much. And yeah, definitely follow John and Whitethorn Games. Shout out to Matt White for connecting us and making this whole thing happen. Calico's an amazing game. Again, want to shout out Steam because they hooked us up with a page for Black Voices in Gaming, as well as our co-streaming this with our with our other partners. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and look forward to talking soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks again. See ya.
Peace.